Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
All right, so welcome to the Quad County Urban League Community Health Worker Table Talk, Demystifying Hypnotherapy. Welcome again. My name is Elisa Williams, and I am here at the Quad County Urban League. Very excited to bring this topic to you just because it is something that is mystical, it seems, but we are going to demystify that tonight. As you know, the Quad County Urban League has been here in Aurora for 45 years, maybe 46 years now, and we are part of a national organization, the National Urban League, which is located in New York City. We have our illustrious Theodia Gillespie is our CEO president, who has been in her role for 30 plus years, leading the organization to actually service our clientele in the 4 counties, Kane, Kendall, Will, and DuPage counties. We have several events coming up and we have a lot of programs going on. I want to share some of that with you on the onset as well as I will at the end. But let me just tell you a little bit about the Urban League. We actually service the community for our African American residents, as well as those who that are women, disabled, and other people of color that are disadvantaged. Our purpose is to provide them with the tools, resources, and support that they need in order to become self-sufficient and to eliminate poverty. That's what our goal is, because we want everyone to be able to survive on their own will, and not just a hand out, but a hand up. And the way we do that is through our programming. So we have 2 programs, workforce development and youth and education. Today, workforce development is blowing up, y'all, for real. We have so many programs that are available. And let me take down my flyer here for a second. We have so many programs that are available for to help the community at this time, which are pre-apprenticeship, Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship. We have youth career pathways, and in fact, the youth career pathways, Youth Build, and our DuPage Youth Career Pathways are for students who are 16 to 24 and they're out of school. Pre-apprenticeship program is for those who are 18 and older goes all the way up to as old as you want to work, okay? So, and what we do with those programs is we provide our clientele with employability skills, and that's what our agency part does. We provide the employability skills, and then we bring in instructors who will give those industry-specific skills that will help our clientele to not only get a job, but they will get a career. So that's the purpose of that. Our youth and education program, Youth Build, really falls under that. We are helping the students in the East Aurora School District at this time to help those students that are 5th year seniors to cross the finish line. You know, sometimes folks just need a little hand, and this is what the students are doing here. We have a fabulous manager here that is working with the students along with her staff, and those students who may have been counted out are no longer counted out, but they are actually every one of them that we got in the program is graduating. So, hey, that's a hallelujah for that. And then we also have our TSTM, which is Tomorrow's Scientists, Technicians, and Managers. And that is run by our, we have a coordinator, volunteer coordinator, who is the Quintella Inti. And she has worked with these students. They're actually going to a case competition in July. They're going to Maryland. So very exciting things happening with our students. And that actually ranges from 6th grade through 12th grade. But we are touching as much as we can to our communities. Again, in the 4 counties from 6th grade through continuous. Infinity, 6th grade to infinity. I'll say it like that. And with that, I want to again welcome you to our CHW Table Talk. This is going to be an exciting event, people. I am just tickled about our guest. I am going to first bring to you Barbara Collins. She is the supervisor for our community health workers. She has been with the Urban League now for a year and a half almost, and she is working to continuously encourage our community health workers to be out in the community and attend events and give the education that they need, that they can, in order to help our community get over COVID or get over the COVID hump. I'll say more about that at the end of the program, but I'm going to turn it over to Barbara now so that she can provide some introduction for herself and her team.
All righty. Hello, everyone. Yeah, like she said, I'm Barbara Collins, and our community health workers are amazing. And in the beginning, we really concentrated on serving the community with their needs, and whether it was food or cleaning supplies, those kind of things. And since the pandemic has made a turn, we are focusing more now on outreach. And right now, we are trying to get out to the community and get information out there to get people vaccinated that weren't vaccinated. And we want them to understand the importance of getting vaccinated, but also just providing education. And this particular evening is one of the educational pieces that is included. Every month we have a couple of table talks, and they include different topics and with different people providing a lot of information to help others. So I will turn it over to Brittany. Brittany is now going to talk about her special topic, and I'm really proud that she's doing that. So thank you, Brittany. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, thank you both so much for allowing me this time to share with you all and to demystify hypnosis. As Barbara mentioned, my name is Brittany Moore. I am also a community healthcare worker and also a small business manager here for Quad County Urban League. And so,
yes, you hear me? You see my lips moving. I actually am going to do the introduction for
yes,
Brittany.
Thank you.
Because
okay,
she
thank
is
you.
our special guest for today. She works for Clark County Urban League, and she is our resident hypnotherapist. However, she does deserve a formal introduction. So I'll tell you a little bit about Brittany. She is also professionally known as Syrian. That's her, and she's going to tell us more about that because I'm going to ask her. She is a certified hypnotherapist and a certified rapid transformational therapy practitioner. She has 20 plus years of psychology, biology, and metaphysical science education and training comprised of both formal and informal educational programs. She has received an associate's degree in 2006 from Heartland Community College with a focus on psychology and social work. But then she later attended Illinois State University, where she studied medical lab science for 3 years and later transferred to Capella University, where she returned to her true passion of psychology. Now, being the very inquisitive solution-based individual that she is by nature, Syrian began to dig beyond the textbooks, which it's what's required, right? And was introduced to the world of metaphysical science. So for Syrian, she realized that this world is home, this is peace, and the solution to which is she was always seeking, that metaphysical science. The world opened her eyes. This metaphysical science world opened her eyes to meditation, a vegan lifestyle, hypnotherapy, and much, much more. She completed her hypnotherapy certification through Marissa Peer Rapid Transformational Therapy Certification Program, a mouthful, in 2022, is completing a bachelor's degree in metaphysical later this year. Brittany, again, as she mentioned, she is a community health worker for the Quad County Urban League, which obviously fits into her metaphysical work as far as helping other people. But her full-time job here is a small business navigator, case manager, where she has helped more than 130 businesses obtain grants in order to improve their businesses and recover from COVID. So with that, I'm going to say hello to Brittany. Hi, Brittany.
Hello.
Hello there. Hello there. We're just going to jump right into this and get started because, again, this is a topic. I'm just going to ask the audience right now. How many of you all have seen Get Out?
See, they should not have those types of movies.
They should, but they do. Where's
know.
I got a cup. I had a cup in here earlier where she just stirring in the cup, hitting against the, and the man, he just goes into a trance and he's just gone, and then he's falling in his chair forever. I was actually going to play you all a clip, but I'm sure everybody has seen this movie. And let me just say this also, that this demystifying hypnotherapy, really, we're focusing on the African American community because it is very mystical for us, whereas other communities have actually embraced this. Is that correct, Brittany?
Yes, actually, the history of hypnosis dates back, I would say, I mean, as far as recorded history, the 1700s. And that was through a German physician. And then following that, it was re-brought back or, tinkered with or whatever, I guess you could say. And that's how it became hypnosis. And that was like in the 1800s by a Scottish physician. So,
Okay.
yes, it has definitely been something that has been utilized for many, many, many centuries, actually.
Wow. So why don't you tell us, like, what is hypnosis, right? So let me ask this first question. Hypnotherapy is hypnosis?
Hypnotherapy is the practice of hypnosis.
Okay. Then hypnosis is?
Hypnosis is a state of being.
Okay.
That you can practice. And we do actually practice that every day. So I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of background about hypnosis, since that was your question.
Okay.
Just first to back up and further elaborate on what I was mentioning. In the 1700s, there was, I believe it was a German physician named Franz Mesmer. And he was the first individual, at least recorded, the first individual to believe that as animals, we have this liquid, like magnetic liquid in our body. And so with that, he felt that he could use magnets and push and move around whatever type of disease or ailments that you were experiencing in your body. And he would work with people, put them, I guess, in a trance-like state. I don't know 100% his full practice technique, but he would perform what was considered like a hypnosis on people to rid them of their ailments. Now, his last name was Mesmer, so then that he termed that technique as mesmerize.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
I knew you were going there.
Yes. So then later, the medical world at that time and science world said, nope, this is a bunch of, baloney. We're not going to believe in this. So it stopped being practiced. Following that, I would say in the 1800s is when another doctor, then John Braid, a Scottish physician or surgeon, actually, he picked up Mesmer's work, and from there he further advanced on it, expanded on it, and he termed it gave it the word hypnosis. Hypno comes from the Greek word sleep.
Okay.
And so this Dr. John Braid, he realized that putting people in this trance-like state really was reducing them down into a sleep-like manner. So he termed it hypnosis, and he was then able to perform thousands of minor surgeries on people just under hypnosis and hundreds of major surgeries under the state of hypnosis.
Without medication?
Yes, without medication.
And how, you have to tell me more. How is that possible? How can you, so then this brings me to the question, Brittany, is this a state of where you release control? Because now you have somebody operating surgery on you, and obviously you don't feel pain, I'm assuming. And so where is my pain state at?
Right, right. So that really is like the true power of our brain, how we're able to feed it suggestions. And I myself have never had a surgery done to myself under hypnosis, but just understanding the process and how it works, I would imagine that he did something along the lines of talking to these individuals and speaking to their brain as they're in the subconscious state of being and telling them to turn off their pain receptors. In so many words. I know. Still a mystery, right? Still a mystery.
Right. We're chopping down this tree a little chunk by chunks.
What I can give you as an example would be one, I always say you receive what you believe. Okay. And once people actually fully understand what hypnosis is, you are really affirming and you are telling yourself what you are, who you are, and what your life is. And that is a part of hypnosis because you're programming your brain. So even like people who are snake charmers, that we see, you know, they can entertain the snakes and do all these things. Some of them can be bitten. I believe there is a culture where they practice this regularly, where they are bitten by poisonous, venomous snakes. But again, because they have programmed their bodies and their minds, it doesn't impact them or affect them the way that it would someone who has not programmed their mind.
So are you saying that as humans, and I know you use the term animal.
Yeah.
But as humans,
yes, we
have the power within us to control, do more, I want to say mind versus brain, because I know they're different. But we have the ability to control which one should I use, brain or mind?
Either is fine.
So
one
we
is
can
machine and it's feeding the information, but that's fine because you still have to learn to control both of them.
So we can control both of those things.
Most definitely.
To the point of controlling how we receive pain.
Yes.
Okay.
Most definitely. Yep.
This is mystifying because I believe in once we truly understand the brain, that we will learn that this really isn't far-fetched at all.
Exactly. It really,
we don't really understand all the components of the brain, even like brain surgeons. I follow this lady, Caroline Leaf. She talks a lot about she's a brain neurologist. Yeah, I would say she's a neurological surgeon, which studies the brain. And she talks a lot about prayer and I know you've mentioned meditation and how prayer and meditation and these types of things help you to really gain more control over what it is you may even be trying to accomplish, such as weight loss, such as improving relationships, releasing trauma from the past, certain things like that.
Yes, most definitely.
So how did you get into hypnotherapy?
How did I get into hypnotherapy? So that is a bit of a journey, and I will make this as brief as I can, but the background is necessary. Okay.
Panelists here, Bo.
Okay. So
hence why we want to inform our African American community.
Yes, because it is not at all, not very well known in our community at all. So for me, my life, starting as a small child, once I became an adult, I realized it, but I experienced anxiety attacks really my entire life. Even as a really, really small child, like at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So once I reached my 20s, my late 20s, I was having anxiety attacks that were bad enough that they were producing seizure-like activity. So did not know what was going on with me. I just thought I was having seizures, and I ended up in the hospital for about a week. They did a lot of testing on me, my heart, my brain, different things like that. The one thing that they did realize was, and I noticed it as well, was that every time they came in to give me something to calm me down, I was fine. I felt completely fine. So even myself, I came to the conclusion that this is something in my mind. It's
Okay.
not truly anything that's really happening to me. I knew, you know, I didn't understand it fully, but I knew that there was something more to that. So from there, yes, when I was released from the hospital, I was sent to a psychiatrist, a different therapist, and I was on a lot of medication. And this, I didn't like it. I'd never taken medication before in my life. Not even Tylenol. My grandma would have to remind me every year that I had allergies. And she would have to remind me to take my allergy medication like every spring or something, because I never took medication. And I just recall when I would go to see the psychiatrist, every time I would go to see her, I was always hoping that she would tell me, this is actually what's wrong with you, and this is how we can fix it. This is why this is happening, and this is the solution, or here's some tools that you can use to better yourself, to, you know, rid yourself of this situation. But every time I would go, she just kept talking about more and more medication and altering it and changing it. And it never, I mean, the only conversation I remember having with her was me being afraid of bridges or something, which I've long gotten over that, you know.
Okay.
So that was really the only thing that, you know, I took away from that that experience with her. But I do remember telling myself, this is not it. This is not the end all be all. This there's so much more to this. And I had to tell myself to calm down, take a break, and get back to the root of who I am.
Okay.
And the root of me and things I had practiced for many years prior to this situation, home remedies. I was always concocting something up in the kitchen, you know, making special home remedies.
So is homeopathic, is that a part of hypnotherapy, being a homeopathic?
It leads you, I would say it's kind of hand in hand in a
Okay.
sense, maybe, yeah. They can go hand in hand.
For our audience, homeopathic, and I don't know if I'm saying the word correctly, but that is really just a practice of using natural healing.
Yeah,
and even natural eating, naturally exercising, naturally doing things naturally.
yeah, I could say that you would probably find that people who practice hypnosis or practice it as a lifestyle,
Yeah.
they probably do live a natural lifestyle as well too.
Okay.
But you can still, but they're not necessarily, because you could have somebody who just wants a hypnotherapy session for a certain situation, you know, one certain thing, and they still go on and live their regular life.
Okay.
Or the life in which they choose to live.
Sure.
So yeah, so that experience with her, it told me to get back to the, you know, my home remedies, my to start really implementing the practice of a vegan diet, exercising more, being outdoors, studying the human body, the brain, genetics, more importantly, my brain, my genetics, you know, things like that. So then that further led me into really studying and understanding affirmations, visualizing, meditating, journaling. And again, me describing this right now, this is like a journey over the last 7 years of my life is kind of what I'm taking you through. So it's kind of like one thing led to the next, right? So then I found myself with like I said, the affirmations, visualizing, journaling. I fell in love with all of it. These were things that I was already doing. Now I'm re-implementing them into my life. And I was just so in love with it. I would spend hours doing it. And I was like, there's got to be a way for me to make a living doing this. Like, there's got to be more to this, you know, or something.
How can I share this with everyone?
Yes. Like, how can I put this together? And, you know, what does this mean? So even through that, I was then introduced to metaphysical science and then began working on
What's the difference between metaphysical science, or is hypnotherapy a part of metaphysical science?
I would say hypnotherapy is a piece of that. Metaphysical science is more of the inner workings, the behind the scene energetic workings of this world that people are always questioning, such as, why do all religions work for all people? But those types of questions, it's a whole nother topic, but that's what metaphysical science.
So metaphysical science is our spirit person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand. I believe that.
Yeah, so with metaphysical science, it's really studying all things of nature, studying everything really in its most natural state of form, state of being. I would say is the easiest way for me to describe that. And it's also the study of your emotions, the study of your feelings, the vibrations that we have going through our bodies, and how that is then manifested into our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's metaphysical science, somewhat in a nutshell.
Okay.
And so hypnotherapy.
We'll use that one for another topic.
Yes. And so, so hypnotherapy is a piece of that, is a component or piece of that, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so with my journey that led me into the metaphysical science program, and even going through that program, I still kept questioning myself and saying, you know, what am I going to do with this degree? I'm having fun. I am really, really enjoying it. And, you know, I'm learning a lot, but still, what am I going to do with this degree? Because I didn't want to work for a church. I am more spiritual in nature. I'm not tied to any specific religion. So I didn't want to just work for a church. And, you know, so I was really playing around with this. And of course, the more and more we ask, they say you ask, you shall receive. So between God, universe, that was answered. And sometime after I began my metaphysical science program, I was flipping through somewhere, maybe YouTube or the internet, and came across a video of a woman who had practiced this hypnotherapy on her father-in-law. He was ex-military, very fit, very intelligent. I mean, he was like top ranking sergeant general, you know, whatever the highest ranking is. He had experienced a massive stroke, which left half of his body, at least I think it was half of his body, paralyzed. And at that time, it was just it was her father-in-law. But anyway, so they asked her, like, well, she was fairly new into hypnotherapy, but they asked her, would you maybe go in and just try, just see what'll happen and just try. And she went in there and was working with him for that session, which typically is about an hour, hour and a half. And by the end of the session, he was able to move his pinky finger. So when
this was just with her trying.
Yes.
I the word TRY.
Yeah. Yes, this was.
You try hypnotherapy on somebody.
Well, you'll figure it out. You'll see. But yeah, so that to me was just really, really intriguing, where I was like, okay, like that's something, kind of put it on the back burner, but I kept it in my mind, you know. And then a little bit further down the line, I saw a couple other hypnotherapy experiences, and I was like, there's really something to this, you know.
Okay.
Then fast forward, I want to say like 9-10 months after this, I somehow came across this Marissa Peer rapid transformational therapy program. I ended up interviewing. The program is a pretty intensive program, and you do have to interview to be accepted into. I went through 2 different interviews, and was accepted and went through the whole program. And it wasn't until I was maybe like 2 to 3 months into it. No, I was, about 2 to 3 months. And then that's when I realized, like, oh, this is the exact same thing that I was watching months ago. Like, I didn't even didn't even make the connection until I was already in the program. And pretty much that's how I ended up into hypnotherapy. And I am really in love with it. The specific program that I'm in, I really, really love, or the practice. I'm sorry, I'm done with the program because I've graduated. So yes, thank you.
Is that Marissa Pearson? Is that local?
It is not local.
It's online, no?
It's worldwide.
Okay.
So yes.
It's online. It was an online program.
Yes, it was.
Okay. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna drop that in the chat eventually.
Okay.
Once you drop it in there, so we can leave that information for our audience.
Definitely, yeah. It was an amazing program. It's a 12-month program, and the way that they have it set up, you can tell that she really, the instructor really truly does care, and making sure that you are very well trained and versed in what you're doing. She makes sure you do have to go to in-person class, well, not in person, but via Zoom. You know, you have to go to classes. So it's not just like your certification where you are just clicking away on your own. You know, you actually do have to attend study group sessions, personal group sessions, tutoring sessions. It's quite a bit to the program, but it was really fun. It was a great time. So
now let me ask you this question. Have you been hypnotized or put in a trance before?
Of course.
That was the right answer.
Most definitely. And I'm still here. You see me, and I'm not crazy. At least I don't know. You probably think I am, but but I'm still in my right.
So whoever did this, could they snap their fingers and then you go back into your trance?
No, not at all.
Or bark like a dog or quack like a duck?
Only if I wanted to.
Okay.
So that is the thing with hypnosis. You have to be willing. You have to actually want the suggestions to take place. You have to want it.
So you're saying you have to submit yourself?
Yes.
To the person who is putting you in the hypnosis state.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hypnotic state, I should say.
Correct. Yeah, you do. You have to be open and willing to receive the suggestions. For example, have you ever heard of a hypnotherapist that's a trillionaire?
No.
No. Because if we could really tell you whatever we wanted to tell you, we would be so rich.
Because we tell you to give me all your money.
Yes.
Every week.
I would tell you exactly. Clear out the bank account, transfer it here, drive here, put it in the safety lock box.
Rob this bank. Drop it off at my house and keep going.
Exactly. Do not stop. Do not collect $200.
Right.
Yeah. So the individual does have to be like a willing participant in that. Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. Just the idea though of giving, let me ask you this. Are you giving control to someone else for the way that you're thinking?
You're not actually. So that again is what I find very unique about this program or this practice, this type of therapy. The entire time while you're in hypnosis and even prior to you being put into hypnosis, you as the client are telling me exactly what you want. And the entire time through the whole process, you're talking to me. You're still alert enough to where you're communicating with me. You know what you're saying. We're reviewing this information together. Mm-hmm. And with that, you're also telling me, so you can tell me, okay, I have this trauma or I have this issue, but at the same time, we're also going to figure out what is it that you desire. So yes, you have this, but what do you want? And you're going to need to, and I ask you, and I will continue to ask many times, multiple times from beginning to end throughout the entire session in many different ways. What does that mean for you? And what does that look like? What does that feel like? What colors do you see? Who's with you? So I ask you all of these things so that when we get to the very end of the session, I feed that back to you. I feed back to you everything that you have said that you desire. Mm-hmm. And that's then put into a recording, typically about 10 to 15 minute long recording. Yeah. And you then listen to that, and it's personalized just for you. And you listen to that. They typically say for 21 days, I would say the general public, as far as the world, even my instructor, she would suggest listening to it for at minimum 21 days. I have practiced this many, many times. I always tell people do it for the month. Start on the 1st, go to the 31st. If there are things that you are really, really wanting to make a true habit and lifestyle change, you want to do it for about 100 days. And I've done that many a times.
That's interesting because in my research, I learned about this one young woman who practices hypnotherapy for children. And she records them as when they're in her session with her. Mm-hmm. And asks that the parents play it back to them in their voice, because she's recording them in their voice.
Oh, that's cute.
So it helps them to relax and go to sleep.
That's cute.
Because it's usually for children who have problems sleeping at night and keep everybody up all night long, parents, siblings, everybody. Yep. But so, and again, I'm not talking about infants. Of course, these are children who are able to comprehend what's being said on the tape, on CD, or whatever it is, the recording. And again, it's their own voice. So they become accustomed, and this is what I thought was very interesting, is that they become accustomed to their own voice. How many times I I'm going to go here. There's scripture that says we look in the mirror and it looks darkly back at us, because as soon as we walk away, we forget the image that we saw. But we can see everybody that's in front of us.
Right.
So, but then I think about that. How many times do we hear our own voice to speak back to us?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I took away from this hypnotherapy demystification that I definitely want to try out, because I don't recall ever recording myself talking to me. But I do remember one instance where I spoke into the mirror to myself. Because I asked myself about the state that I was in. I was like, why are you allowing this to go on? Why is this happening to you? I asked myself, why is this happening to you? And myself spoke back to myself.
Okay.
As I was looking in the mirror, and not the image, but me. And I said, because you allow it. Just instantly, I came up with the answer.
That is amazing. And that's really what happens through our sessions as well in hypnotherapy. That's exactly. It's just somebody there with you, somebody there allowing you to be in such a relaxed state that you're just focused on one thing, and you are feeding me exactly what it is that's going on with you, and you're answering it back to yourself. The whole session is really the client making it for themselves. I just know the tools and the techniques to guide you there, to guide you through.
You just said something very important.
What was
that? As a hypnotherapist, you have the tools and techniques to help the individual to bring themselves to the state of healing. I want to say healing, but is it hypnosis?
Yes. Healing.
Okay.
Healing, self-healing, and also practicing self-hypnosis themselves, and getting to the point where myself now, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that I practice self-hypnosis all day, but because I know the tools and the techniques, I'm able to just grab and reference it very quickly. So I don't always have to go into hypnosis. I'm able to just jump right to a situation. If I'm in a state of being and I'm like, I don't like this. And then I know, oh, okay, slow down. And I use my tools on myself. Okay, why don't I like it? Okay, go back to my childhood. Okay, yep, somebody took my Barbie doll, took the head, ripped the head off of it. Okay, so that's why that's making this happen right here today. And I talk myself through it. That happened in the past. That's so not even relevant. It's happening today because I allowed it to happen today, but it doesn't have to continue to happen today. I have to just practice through my thought pattern and redirect my thoughts and tell myself, I'm okay. I'm safe.
And that's what self-hypnosis is?
In a nutshell.
Wow.
It's really,
that's not mysterious at all.
Right. It really is. It really isn't. And like I said, too, I don't even think I mentioned, no, I didn't. Just the fact that we are multiple times throughout the day, we are in a state of hypnosis. So
yes, you told me that multiple times. Speak to me more about that.
Right. So being in a state of hypnosis, first, I'll just say, really what you're doing, you're in a very focused, relaxed state of being. That's hypnosis. You are very focused and very relaxed. Pretty much to the point where anything coming your way, you're just taking it in. You're absorbing it like a sponge. Okay. So, like if you're driving, you're driving and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get there?
That was one of the examples that in my research I found, that whole driving thing, and all of a sudden you're at home.
Because you don't really have to, especially when you're traveling the same paths. Usually it's when you're going to and from work, or, picking the kids up from school or daycare. It's those same patterns that you're so used to doing. So you really can do them effortlessly, easily. Driving is almost like brushing your teeth after a certain point, when you keep doing those same, the same routine or the same, place every time. So with that, your brain, your body, you just automatically just become very relaxed, and you're just focused on your thoughts really at that point in time, but you are in a state of hypnosis. Again, would be, say you're taking a shower and you're singing a song, and you are so focused and you're in that shower just da 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 having a great time, and then all of a sudden the kids come boom 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 and it startles you. You were so relaxed, you were so focused, you were in the zone, you were in your song and singing and having a great time, that everything else on the outside world just really melted away. It was, it was of no issue, no concern to you. So those are different times when we are in a state of hypnosis. Now, some other times also is when we're falling asleep. You're always going into a state of hypnosis as you're falling asleep and as you're waking up. Being in that state of hypnosis is really, again, like I said, yes, you are very focused and relaxed, but scientifically, if you want to take to that level, your brainwave pattern is in a theta brainwave state of being. That happens naturally. So it happens during hypnosis, and it also happens as you're falling asleep and as you're waking up.
Is theta from fetus?
No, it is theta, T-H-E-T.
T-H. Okay,
Yes.
T-H.
Theta.
Okay.
And that is really during the time of sleep when you experience like the rapid eye movement as well.
Okay.
So REM, people know that as that. You're in a theta brainwave state of being during that time when you're sleeping. And so when you're even in the REM state of being, your brain is more highly active. You're having dreams. And also they said that being in the REM state of being activates the part of your brain that allows you to learn more. So
you can play, like if you were trying to learn something and you played it while you were sleeping, that you will absorb it.
Have you done that before?
Of course I have.
So you hypnotized yourself then? Okay. Intentionally. Intentionally.
Indubitably.
There-
That's a word my dad uses.
My uncle says it. Only one uncle. That's why I'm like, I love it. Says it all the time. But yeah, so that right there is, yes, that's it.
That's
Right
it.
there. That's it.
So I've totally experienced driving home and all of a sudden I'm pulling in the driveway.
Yep.
It's like, how did that happen?
Mhm.
I've experienced, like you said, just going to sleep and playing, even when I used to sing in the choir, I'd play the songs while I was, what was that? I'd play the songs while I was asleep and, oh, okay, that's my phone. And it would, I know the song when I wake up. I still know songs, like from 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
I've been living for a long time.
Right. Oh. Yeah. So that really is.
What's very interesting about that is, I know you mentioned, and even in my research, I learned that hypnotherapy can help with trauma, where people as children experience trauma. So there are those triggers that come upon them as adults that bring that same experience back to them.
Right.
Hypnotherapy can help them to overcome that. How does that work?
So part of it, again, is going back to the whole you receive what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I try to find ways to really answer this and explain it. First, I'll just say this. With hypnotherapy, it is therapy. So just like with any other type of therapy, you can go see a therapist and they can walk you, talk you through past trauma. So hypnotherapy is the same thing. I would say the only difference with the specific hypnotherapy that I do, again, it's rapid transformational therapy. So everything, you could go see a therapist about the same issue. I don't know, some people go for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months about the exact same thing. With the rapid transformational therapy, there are 3 sessions max. Typically the first session, you will definitely feel some type of relief from whatever that trauma was. So now how does this work and what does this look like? When you come in for a session, first, yes, you start off by telling me exactly what your issue is. So you'll describe that issue to me. From there, We will discuss, like I said, what is it that you want? What does your life look like without this problem? How will you feel? All of those things. So we're already like prepping your brain and prepping your mind to prepare for healing and to get rid of whatever it is that's bothering you. Now, during the session, typically an 1.5-hour session, we go through regression. So when we regress you, taking you back to a previous time in your life, it could have been the day before, you know, all the way back to, some people actually regress all the way back to being in the fetus, being a fetus, whatever, being in the womb.
Right.
Some people will regress all the way back to that time frame. And when you regress back, I know, again, very specific questions, very specific things to ask you to guide you there. And we pull out information, we pull out what's needed to figure out what is the true root cause of this issue that you're experiencing today. That regression, we do that 3 to 4 times in a session. So you literally will go through one scene and we'll pick that apart and we'll figure out what meanings did you attach to that? What thoughts did you have with that? You know, who was involved? What is the pattern? And that's why we do it 3 to 4 times, because then you come to realize that there is some type of connection with all of these experiences that you've had, the thoughts that you created, the beliefs that you have formed. And those beliefs that you formed is really what created the trauma. It's not the actual situation that created the trauma, because you can have people who, there are stories of women, many stories, women who, unfortunately, they have been sexually assaulted. But there are some women who, like, it's all the meaning that you attach to it, and then that will then dictate how traumatized you are from it. You know, there was one woman who was extremely, just a couple of stories that I'm thinking of, one woman who was very traumatized from this, could not be around men, just couldn't have a successful relationship. It was really hard on her. Another woman, her thought process was, well, yeah, I am being attacked, but I could be attacked by something much worse. So it was the thought process that she had within the meaning that she associated with it. And so she didn't walk away with the same debilitating trauma of not being able to have a successful relationship in marriage and things of that nature. Another example, there was a story, and I believe it was the Joe Dispenza. Some people have heard of him. He's on YouTube, and he does a lot of other things with meditation and hypnosis and stuff. But I believe it was Joe Dispenza. He was telling of a story. I believe it was Vietnam. There was a community, a big group of women who every time, like when they would reach their 20s, somewhere early to mid 20s, they would go blind. And it was just in this culture, just in this community, just in this one particular community where the women, they would reach a certain age and they would go blind. So this was intriguing to him, and he went there to this community to do some further digging and research and figure out what is it that's causing these people when they're in their early 20s to go blind. Well, come to find that years and years, generations prior, there was some very vicious attack on their people. So whether that was a war or something, I'm not sure. But with this vicious attack, the women at that time were seeing very brutal things, their husbands being mutilated, their, kids being snatched away from all these things they were seeing. So that trauma, then actually they told their brain, I don't want to see this anymore. And it shut out their vision. Now, because at that point in time, they had no understanding as to what was causing it. So then what do you have? Then it results into what we call in term the generational curse.
Yes.
So from there, it was this story that was told over and over and over again, that when you reach your 20s, you better be careful because you might go blind. It was that kind of story that was told. And so then you had, in present day, young women were still going blind in that community. Now, I don't know. I mean, I know Joe Dispenza, I believe it was Joe Dispenza that actually was the one over there working with those women in that community. So I think they're on a path of recovery and healing now and better understanding. But that's just really like how our brains can
capture something and hold it.
Yeah, and it's like it's working for you. It thinks it's working for you, and that's what we do.
Fight or flight. And if we feel
Yes.
like there's something there that's going to cause us to fight, or the fear that we have to fly away, then you're saying that the brain captures that and reacts to it, whatever that protection is, whatever protective action is.
Yes. And you'll see that, and even during the sessions, all of that comes out in our sessions. So not only do we regress you, we figure out what the root cause is, then we go through and we reframe that. Before we reframe it, we go back and we visit. So if there's any people or anything that you need to have a conversation with, we go through that. Those get really interesting at times because some people, they want to talk to their mom, talk to their dad, talk to, whether these people are living or non-living, they want to have that chance and opportunity to really verbalize and vocalize how they've been feeling all these years. So I allow that space, through this practice. You allow that time, you allow that space for them to do that. So they release it. Now, once they release it, then we go through the reframe. And reframing is, now we're dissecting your thoughts, and we're going to see how we can, and I ask you, well, do you feel that that's of any use to you? Is that still beneficial? That same thought, is it beneficial? What was that thought doing for you? And a lot of times people will say, well, it was protecting me. It was keeping me safe. You'll hear that a lot with weight gain. I'm trying to think of other things. Weight, vision loss, hearing loss, and also, there's another one.
Memory?
Yes. I promise I didn't do that on purpose. So the other one is is memory.
Yes.
Where a lot of times you'll come to find as you're going through the entire session that the person, they will tell you like it was there to protect me. It thought it was keeping me safe. It thought, all of those things. And so then I will further ask you, well, do you still need that? Is it really keeping you safe? Is it really protecting you? It's really hindering you. Clients will say that, no, it's really hindering me. Yeah, it is. And then are you ready to let it go? So all of it. And now this part of the session is when you really kind of turn into the visualizing. So I walk you through so you can you're experiencing it visually in your mind first, of you letting it go, releasing this. And then, like I said, closing out the session is me then going through and feeding you back all of the things that you actually do want your life to be.
So you mentioned several things, but the one thing that I really want to go back to, you talked about thought process, but even prior to that, you mentioned habits and brain patterns. And it sounds like that's really what you just described, is that at some point you create this brain pattern, this habit that, and again, a habit is nothing but a path that your brain follows every time, like driving home, like
and it's a belief.
Popcorn at night for the movies.
Yes.
Or having a glass of wine. Habitually, whatever that habit is, and it etches the path in your brain.
Right. So you have the habit, like you said, so you have the habit, which is the path. But prior to that habit began with a belief. Right. So that belief is when I get home, I have to have my wine. When I get home, I have to do this. That's the belief. So then you have to go back and say, okay, but what is the thought? Because a belief is nothing more than a practiced thought. So that even further is why with the hypnosis, we're just giving you new thoughts to practice.
Wow.
So that you can then formulate a new belief,
new habit,
a new
practice.
There you go.
Wow, that is awesome. How, I want to ask my audience, how do you all, are you all being demystified?
I sure hope so.
I think, let me see. Let me see if I can take, I don't know if they can get them off of mute. Hold on. Well, while they're being demystified and letting me know, there we go. Allow mic for attendees, allow camera. There we go. I think you should be able to unmute yourself. One, if you have any questions, and two, if you're being demystified. None? No problem.
All right, still a mystery? Okay.
I think it's very
No,
interesting.
so this is Michelle. So what I have appreciated through all the way you described everything, certainly get into a space that when we get into deep thought and focus,
Mhm.
that is, you refer to it as like hypnotherapy or getting into a hypnotic state of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I do have anxiety about driving, and that's because of the accidents. So I've been in 3 accidents, and no matter where I'm driving, and you're right, the to and the from, as long as I don't need to go nowhere else, which I typically don't, unless I'm specifically asked to do so. If I'm not, I just don't.
Right.
You know, and I
Right.
go directions, on the main roads that I'm used to. I don't do Route 59, for example. You'll never find Michelle on Route 59. Now,
Right.
Ridge Road, yes.
Yeah.
Forester, yes. But there's no reason for me to be on Route 59.
Right. Right.
But no, that's what, definitely that state of being and making a conscious choice to either focus, to be where you are in the midst of what you're in,
Yes.
or rely on your spiritual connectivity, which I rely tremendously. If I wasn't spiritually connected in a greater manner, and I'm thankful that the Lord uses me in that way, because that's when He talks to me and whispers in my little precious ear. So, so I say all that to say this was definitely beneficial, and I thank you for putting it together.
Definitely.
Thank you, Michelle. That's good. Thank you for sharing. Barbara, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say it was very interesting. And, over the years, even growing up, I was kind of drawn to wanting to understand that more. And I thank you so much, Brittany, for explaining a lot of that. That really helped me to understand. So it's interesting. That's what I have to say about it. So I'm looking forward to talking to you more about it.
Awesome.
Outside of work, of course, but
awesome.
Definitely learning more.
That's good. That's good.
Well, there's more to come here. We haven't quite finished yet. We've got about 2 more minutes of questions. So I wanted to ask you, Brittany, I think you touched on self-hypnosis. What and how can we practice self-hypnosis? I know you talked about even like watching television. You just kind of, and I know, I think I did it last night. I was just like, I was just there.
Yeah.
I think we call it vegetating.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, and so you were just sitting there and you were just relaxed and you're just focusing on whatever's, on the television. More than likely your brainwave patterns at that time were in a theta state and you were very suggestible and just taking in and absorbing whatever was being given to you. And that even speaks to like why they say, be mindful of what you do watch and mindful of what you listen to, because your brain is a machine. I mean, it's a machine, and we just haven't learned how to properly program it so that we have the lives that we truly desire. There are so many things that take place in our lives and we're just like, how did that happen? And why did that happen? Or, you know, somebody else may have something like they're so lucky. And no, it's really our thought patterns. Even just on a subconscious level, I'm trying to think of any examples or whatever, but more so like, never mind. That's going to take me in a whole nother thing. But our thought patterns will lead us. What I can say is that our thought patterns will just naturally lead us to things and events and people that, you know, things that just happen in our lives. So that can be good, that can be bad, but it's because of what you're feeding your brain.
Yeah. So tell me now, touch on our music and our children and the music that they listen to, especially the very suggestive sexual music, the very suggestive murderous music. I mean, how is that? What type of effects can we expect from that on our young people?
I would say, I mean, we can look around now the world and see exactly what effect that has. Suicide, drug use, killings, what else? I mean, it's just, we have heartbreak, we have infidelity, adultery, divorce, you know, I mean, it goes on, and it just depends on what kind of music you're listening to. But there are a lot of really great music alternatives for people to listen to if they just reach outside the box. You know, don't listen to necessarily what's just on the radio or what's trending in the moment. If you do choose to listen to those things, I would just be very mindful and knowing what you actually are taking in. So for that, my household, we listen to a lot of Disney music. And even that sometimes is questionable because if it's sad or if it's making me think about a sad part in a movie, I don't want to listen to it, you know. So I listen to, well, earlier we were playing Happy by Pharrell. So that's one of my jams, you know, I listen to coming to work. What we have, who is a lot of the love songs like Bob Marley and who else? I mean, like the Happy, the Love, Marvin Gaye. I know that's kind of taking it back and our kids probably don't want to listen to it, but with some of it, you know.
I'm thinking
it's just talking.
Luther Vandross.
Yes. When it's just talking about the pureness of just love and family and appreciation and, you know, and for myself, for a good period of time when I was going through this, just really weeding out like, okay, what do I want? What do I need? What don't I need? For one, I don't watch television. Very, you know, I'm very intentional. Yeah, I'm very selective and intentional with what I do watch and when I watch it. And then as far as the music, years and years ago, I just became in love with classical music and jazz, and then listening to a lot of nature sounds. And to a lot of people, that might be, you know, oh, that's boring, or oh, that's kind of torturous, or oh, yeah, we'll have another episode of my life story. And then you'll understand why I am completely fine with listening to water wash off of rocks. Okay. I don't care. So I would just say, yeah, it is. It's very important to be mindful of that. In my household, my daughter knows, I let her know that I am more of her energy guide. So I always want, as her parent, I want her to make sure that her energy is in the highest, you know, most elevated state of being that it always can be. But I also am not going to control her. We are creatures of not wanting to be controlled, not wanting to be told what to do. So I already know the outcome of that, right? You end up rejecting it and you do exactly what I told you not to do it anyway.
Right.
So I pretty much allow her to listen to what she wants to and watch what she wants to. But even her, she picks up on things. You know, just not that long ago, she said, yeah, I'm not watching Criminal Minds anymore, Mom. I'm done with that. I watched it and I'm not doing it anymore because she understood and she felt that it was not.
It's victimization.
Yes. And then just.
You know, you mentioned something at the beginning, at the top of our talk, that you had anxiety. And as a child, you had anxiety. So have you overcome that? And has it been through hypnotherapy?
So I definitely still experience anxious moments. I think that is a part of our human nature. We have to have that in order to tell us, to guide us and direct us into where we need to go. So yes, I do still have anxious moments, but now one, medication free. I have not had any type of medication for anxiety for over 7 years now. That period of time when I was on medication, that was probably for maybe 6 months total. And I, figured out how to rid myself of that pretty quickly. But then as far as the anxiety, one main thing that I tell people, don't claim it. So when we speak my anxiety, it's not yours. It's just a moment. It'll pass. Just let it pass. Don't claim it. Don't hold on to it so tight for dear life that, it then becomes a part of you, and it does start to manifest itself internally, damaging organs, damaging things. So yeah, for myself, I do still have anxious moments, but you said what? It
becomes yours.
Right, exactly. So
a part of your organs, a part of your thoughts, a part of everything.
Yeah. And so that's why I just refer to it as, oh yeah, that was an anxious moment. Or something like that. So I still experience those things at times. Nowhere near. I definitely have not had anything remotely close to a seizure in over 7 years. And it doesn't impact me now also because I just know what it is and I know how to identify it within myself. Anxiety manifests itself differently in every person.
Sure.
So for myself, I realized first it messed up my skin. I had anxiety. I had eczema on my skin. And then it was my breathing where I would feel like I was choking all the time, different things like that. And now I think it's more of sometimes my head will feel like it's kind of like a little dizzy feeling, but I recognize that and I know I am safe. And as soon as I tell myself, I'm safe, and I affirm, I'm safe. I tell my brain what I want and who I am and what's taking place in my life. And so with me doing that, it really helps those anxious moments pass like within seconds,
So let me ask you this. Does this open up your spirit to receive, how what I've heard in this, we're demystifying, remember, what I've heard is that, when you allow yourself to be opened up like that, we submit to whoever that person is that's giving us the suggestions to open ourselves and relax and all of that. Does that open us up to, I don't want to get too, woo, but to evil or to where I don't know how to describe it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you help me with the words?
I do understand what you're saying. Again, I would say that is all based on where your focus is.
Okay.
I have never experienced that. If you are legitimately, and there's so many people even within the community that I work with and stuff, I've never, experienced or heard of someone going into hypnosis and having that type of experience.
Right, because that actually becomes a very negative experience.
Right.
And actually all of this is to help you to become a better person.
Right.
Okay. Right. So it's really going to be where your beliefs are.
Correct. Now with that, I will say that through the entire process of you healing, and it depends on how deep you want to go with your healing, right? Yeah. But if we've all ever had, a surgery or a scratch, something, there's a process to it. Yeah. So sometimes they say it'll get worse before it gets better. But just knowing that, okay, you stick with it and you stay on that path. But the only reason why it's getting worse, in a sense, your life may seem like things are getting worse, is really because you're just now observing it. Like you actually are intentionally taking time to see what's happening in your life, and you're choosing to practice new things, practice new thoughts, habits, behaviors to rid yourself of that life. But you have to first figure out what that is. So you kind of do have to sit in that for a minute, and figure out what that is. And then, you know,
the new direction.
And what's the new direction? And if you don't know that, that's when you pick up a book and read somebody else's life. How did they do it? YouTube, you know, or there's so many different resources out here today. And then that's how you figure out, okay, how do I get to that direction? How do I get there? There are other people that are over there, so I know I can get there.
Yeah.
How do I get there? So that's when you have to take your time and you have to learn. And I tell people, learning your brain and learning your body and your mind, like that should be like the number one main focus and priority. We'll spend hours and hours and hours learning how to fiddle in with our phones, the settings, right? We want to make sure we got the right background, the right ringtone, the right this, the right that, and all this stuff is set up. And same with televisions in our house and computers. We spend so much time navigating through the settings and all those things and making sure that they're programmed
right.
Them to be
that's key.
How they in our home
they're programmed the way we want them when we don't take time to figure out to program ourselves.
And so during that time when somebody says, oh, well, I don't have time to meditate or I can't sit still, well, you watch a 30-minute TV show
or 2 hours though.
Or a 2-hour movie, so you can take 5 minutes out of that. I started meditating for 1 minute. Now, if nobody bothered me, I would probably meditate for a full 24 hours. Like, just
sure.
I could go into that state and I'm so happy. The best place.
Happy.
Yes.
Barbara, you had a question?
Yeah, well, kind of a question and a statement. And just listening to you, Brittany, I was just thinking how powerful and how important affirmations are. And I think that kind of helps us get through a lot of things. And I know those affirmations can stick with us just like negative things can stick with us. So I think we just need to concentrate on putting the positive things in our minds and in our souls so that we can move forward that way. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, most definitely affirmations. And again, that's something that what you just spoke on, a lot of people don't realize or they don't take into account. Really, we're affirming every second of the day. So whether you say, I am fat, well, you just affirmed it. Or if you say, I am intelligent, I am beautiful, I am brilliant, you just affirm that as well. So, and again, those affirmations are what formulate our thoughts, turn into our beliefs of I am fat, which then turn into the habits of wanting to, give up, not want to try, or, things like that. So it all goes hand in hand. But yes, affirming is both good and bad. You can affirm either way. So it's just taking that time to be mindful of what are your thoughts and what is that affirmation that you are saying to yourself. And you can, and eventually I have a workshop on this, really helping people identify their vibration and their emotions and the energy within them. But it's something for you to take away. If you really sit and feel, you can feel the energy within your body, and that will tell you whether it's something that's harmful or whether it's good. So if you're angry, if you really think about it, when you're angry, your body literally vibrates in a certain manner. Like you can feel it inside of you and, on the outside of you. Sometimes it's even, displayed in a certain type of way. But the same with being happy. There's a different vibration. There's a different feeling that goes along with that. And so
that's interesting.
That's a whole other workshop. Anyway, sorry.
So Brittany, you said that you wanted to give us a demonstration. We have about 15, 17 minutes left.
And I can definitely do this in 15, 17 minutes. Are people able to come off camera?
Sure.
Or on camera if they'd like to?
Come on off camera, everyone.
I would like to see your faces.
Should say.
And so this is open to anybody who is interested in possibly, not interested in possibly, but interested in being hypnotized. Hold on here. Welcome back.
Wow.
Welcome back.
Different.
So that was just a quick little snippet of something of like what a session would be.
Wow.
And that was like in 12 minutes. Usually this is an hour and a half. So
Okay, wow.
yeah.
So that reminded me when I went to the chiropractor who came here, and part of the visit there was to you were able to see the masseuse. And so I can remember I was just so tight. I mean, I was so ungodly tight. And this reminded me of that, where she kept telling me to just keep deep breathing because there was a knot in my back that she couldn't even touch. And then as I kept deep breathing, she would just almost go over it, but then go someplace else. But eventually, by the midpoint of the session, she was able to just rub it out. And it was really based because she kept telling me to just deep breathe.
Nice.
But I felt the state that we were just in, I felt like I was in that state there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And because I was like trying to be conscious, but because I was deep breathing, and it was like she was just pushing stuff out of me to the point that I actually had a knot on my hip, upper hip, more like my waist, and it's been there for years. And I think it was the very next day that I squeezed it and it came.
Wow.
It was just a little knot.
Wow.
Of something.
Yeah.
It looks like a blackhead, and it had been there for years, and I had been squeezing it for years, you know.
Yep. Yeah.
Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
She pushed out, I believe she pushed out so much junk, because then my shoulders were fine, my back was fine. I was like, I'm subscribing to massages. Because I felt so much better. But again, I say that just because that state that we were just in, where I truly, it was at one point when you said you eat healthy and something, and the first thought came to my mind was, I'm still going to eat that bag of chili cheese Fritos.
Those fries.
Yeah.
And as you kept talking, I heard myself deny it.
Nice.
And say that, nope, I'm going to have the healthy snack. And remember, I just had my detox green shake today. And, and I just started reaffirming things that I have been doing.
Yep.
In order to, like I say, reaffirm that new thought pattern.
Yeah.
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 Good.
And for those times and those moments, those days that you do slip up or don't stick to what you say, still, like they say, be very loving to yourself, be very kind to yourself. Just grant yourself like that grace, like that mercy, just like it's okay. And really you don't even have to say it's okay. I'm brilliant. I'm good. I'm healthy. Say that. So even if it is a day that you kind of like fall off track, keep affirming, I'm healthy. I am very healthy, because that is what's going to help you get back on track, stay on track. Like missing a day or two is not falling off track. That's living life.
Right.
What it is, it's living life.
It's more than days.
It is. It is.
It's actually years and years and years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And years.
Yeah.
And
if you want it to be something that is a lifelong lifestyle, you can't go through beating yourself up every day if you miss it, or you miss it here, you do it there, it's just be very kind to yourself and continue to speak and affirm those positive, reassuring affirmations at all times. And that's what's going to really propel you and keep you like focused on what you want, no matter what.
Amazing. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for demystifying hypnotherapy for us. I'm saying for me, are you other ladies, are you demystified?
Getting there.
Yeah.
Now we understand better. So yeah.
Definitely understand better. That's for sure.
Yes. I think
and
even
it does reaffirm all that I've understood through prayer,
Yes.
and that
Yep.
reminding and affirming all through prayer, it puts me in this space. So I thank you for just taking that moment to separate from self and get into a spiritual space. That's what that felt like to me.
Yes.
And really quick, I just wanted to mention this because this goes back to something that you did mention earlier that I wanted to say to you. You asked if it was like demonic in some type of way. And I feel with hypnosis, for me, it is the practice of walking by faith and not by sight.
Yes.
That's
and
true.
On that note,
That's truly what it is.
Nothing else needs to be said after that. I love that. Walking by faith, because again, it's those things that are unseen.
Yeah.
Right?
It
It's
is.
unseen. So, and we are spiritual beings.
Yeah.
As my pastor used to say, in a flesh suit.
Yes.
So thank you for that, Brittany. That was amazing. I appreciate it. I feel demystified because, again, I can understand even with meditation and prayer that it is those things that bring us to our own spiritual state. And it sounds like that's what hypnotherapy tries to bring us to, is that truly, because we are spirit beings, brings us to ourselves truly. And then we do that. And a lot of times we do that different ways, whether it's connecting through prayer to the God, our Father that we follow, connecting us in prayer to, whatever it is you follow. We thank God for the opportunity to share this moment with you. Thank you for helping us get to this point. And I think I said I had I did have some other announcements. I wanted to talk about COVID being on the rise again. Kane County is in a medium state right now. Medium meaning the numbers are rising. But again, I feel like I have on my armor.
Yes.
And I am surrounded in this very relaxed state right now that I can't be touched. But
Amen.
But you know what? That has been my claim my entire life, which is I think someone else mentioned that, I just don't take pills, I don't take medicines, I don't take, I just haven't. And you were talking about allergies. It has been like years before I realized, you do know that you could take an allergy pill and not go through the whole nose plugged up and everything.
Yes.
So I just happen to have taken one today.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, I won't prolong the time. It is 7:10. This is Quad County Urban League Community Health Worker Table Talk. We were demystifying hypnotherapy with Brittany Moore. With that note, see us here again in the next couple of weeks. The date, Barbara, do you have that date?
The 24th for the autism awareness?
Yes. May 24th for autism awareness. We have a very special speaker, Deborah Vines. She is from Forest Park and she has her own autism organization that she's been running for years. So I can't wait to speak with her. Also, know that this month is also Lupus Awareness Month, as well as Asian, Indian, and Hawaiian Pacific Month. So we want to recognize our fellow people of color in this moment. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy this program on YouTube. Those who are watching afterward, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the QCUL Quad County Urban League channel. May 21st, Small Business Expo. I almost forgot the major announcement. Is going to be here at Quad County, 1685 North Farnsworth Avenue. We will have small businesses here on Expo, so you can come out and support them. This is one of Brittany's events for the program that she manages here at Quad County. And then June 18th, we will be in Bolingbrook at the Bolingbrook Aquatic Center for our health fair because of our community health workers serving Region 7, which includes Will County. So we will be there in full force with a bunch of our other community-based organizations sharing good news, as well as lots of free stuff, as well as health care information. Brittany will be there. She may put you in a state of hypnosis if you like. You get an in-person opportunity to experience this hypnotherapy. And with that said, I'll say good night. Thank you, Theodia Gillespie, our president, for bringing us all to Quad County, and have a great night.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Good night. Good job, Brittany. Good job.
Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you.